All right, everyone, welcome back. Today we will be discussing Venus in the sign of Scorpio. But before I do, we must understand, what does Venus represent? So here I have a list of several things you can definitely find through your Venus placement. So starting off with attraction, what is something about you that people absolutely gravitate towards? Imagine having a perfume or cologne that's bottled up by what makes you specifically attractive. And it's just the same for what we are attracted to. And this isn't just exclusive to other people. Think soft beds, the finest linens, ocean views, comfort through tangible things, confidence or lack of confidence. To give you an example, Venus displays if we love to share our intellect but shy away from being center stage. Things that can make us feel uncomfortable, this can be seen through Venus. Money. Now, there are multiple ways to distinguish wealth or income or gains, but Venus guides you to your natural profession or your calling, meaning you could be exceptionally successful at this particular hobby or skill, which seems like you were born to do it. Venus also shows us how we like to spend on our comfort or things we like. An example, if you're highly into astrology, more than likely you've purchased multiple books, especially ones that go into great detail, because Venus is all about the details. The details like how we pay for things, the money we like to carry with us, the high profile credit cards with high limits, a wallet full of cash, or maybe no cash. Venus is always explained as a planet that likes luxuries and things with a high price tag. That can be true, but there are many things that look expensive, but it's actually very cheap or of poor quality. Venus represents things of value or of quality. And this leads me into the wife. In a men's chart, Venus represents the wife in the qualities that she has. She can be graceful, a very nice dresser, or even highly successful or a social butterfly. This can all be seen through Venus. Happiness. Our sensuality is something that could be seen very well through Venus. How alluring do we feel when it comes to the opposite sex? Or do we like to skip over intimacy and get right to the physical act? Our seductiveness can definitely be seen through Venus. Going out in nature, traveling, anything in the arts are all things that can make us happy or we take pleasure in. This is what the planet Venus can represent. Still waters run deep. This is Venus in Scorpio. When it comes to Venus in Scorpio, we have finally reached the meeting of Venus and Mars, the wife versus the what we like about our husband. As many of us already know or may not know, Jupiter is the husband in astrology, but the power and the passion and the bravery that draws a woman in is all Mars. For men, Venus is simply the wife, especially in the long-term sense. Mars and Venus come together again when we reach Venus in Aries, but Venus in Scorpio is the unpredictable and insidious side of Mars. The sign of Scorpio, much like other masculine rule signs, really embody the energy of this planet. What I mean by that is the nature or the behavior of a Venus in Scorpio is parallel to Mars and highly noticeable. Mars, the planet of fuel in our body, the aggression behind our passion for life, our work, or our friends and family, has now crossed paths with the sensual, tender, and peaceful Venus. To interpret this pairing is very easy. If you can define the planets, you can define the relationship. Mars is looking to dominate wherever it falls in your chart. The purpose of having victory over the territory is because the individual with a Venus in Scorpio plans to stay forever. Venus and Scorpio people are very loyal, but they need to know their partner is in it just as deep as they are. Keep in mind, intense is the word when describing a Venus and Scorpio. Extremes is the word as well, and you will notice it as I continue. The sign of Scorpio is known to seek what lies below the surface, the insides of a person. This translates in the professional world as excellent analysts or investigators, professions where you pay much attention to detail. Scorpio is the sign that rules death and transformation, so it isn't uncommon surgeons have their Venus in Scorpio. Whenever I think of Venus in Scorpio, the cartoon superhero Batman comes to mind. Though he was known as a crime fighter, he had a magnificent brain that was multifaceted in different cultures, studies, and even occult sciences. So another profession that Venus in Scorpio could be drawn to is anything that falls under the occult or mysticism. We are talking about the eighth house ruler, which means everything we consider taboo. The dedication and rather obsessive nature to thoroughly research can bring them much wealth in their life. The Venus in Scorpio can be masters of their craft because no stone goes unturned in their work. The same approach is applied in relationships. Venus in Scorpio must know everything about their partner. Some may say, well, who wouldn't? As I've mentioned, the deepest and darkest secrets is what the Venus in Scorpio is after. The main reason is these people do not want to commit to someone and later on they discover something that can unravel a relationship. Where the unfairness lies is the Venus in Scorpio is not forthcoming, even deceptive about their own secrets. These are highly vulnerable people, and because of this, they go to great lengths to protect themselves. Interestingly, deciding if they want to pursue a relationship with you is pretty quick. Combining their excellent analytical skills with their long-term goal mindset means they encourage getting all the heavy deciding factors out of the way early in the relationship, like sex. A Venus in Scorpio cannot wait to go to bed with you just to decide if the lust and sensuality meter matches theirs. Off the back, if you're not even that sexual of a person, I wouldn't even encourage you to date a Venus in Scorpio. Referring back to the planet, Mars is always prepared for war. So this means conflict can be applied when it isn't necessary. It is also natural for the sign of Scorpio to constantly purge or detoxify its environment. For Venus in Scorpio, this means gauging their partners to see how they feel about them. This can be small tug-of-war disputes to questions that border interrogative because in the Venus in Scorpio's mind, they believe if there is still an inclination for their partner to prove themselves, then they must still love them. This can be an issue because while Mars is a fire planet, always looking for that intensity, the peacefulness of Venus is not. This also demonstrates a certain neediness they like from their partners. The seemingly dark-sided nature of Venus in Scorpio always seems to attract good-natured, highly spiritual partners. For men with Venus in Scorpio, it could be a sweet woman with a nurturing and healing power that may have a lack of male support in her life. And for the woman with Venus in Scorpio, they can attract a jovial husband who likes to do the right thing but is fiercely protective over her. To be honest, a person that seems to have everything together is not a Venus in Scorpio style. Remember, Batman saved people for a living. So while Venus in Scorpio doesn't want a partner at their worst, some type of suffering will be evident on either or both sides. The sign of Scorpio is a karmic sign, so expect huge transformations being in a relationship with them. Much like having a moon in Scorpio, no one ever stays in a long-term relationship or ends a long-term relationship with the Venus in Scorpio without someone or both parties completely changing how they entered it. One thing partners of a Venus in Scorpio must remember is the level of extremes in them. So just as much as they love to extremes, they can hate to extremes as well. They can also be very jealous and possessive of their partners to extremes, which is something that must be managed. While it is certainly not the partner's job to solve this problem, one way they can help to reassure them is that your love is solid while still maintaining a mystery to them. The Venus in Scorpio loves things that they can solve. And that even means their partner. In the dating stages, lust is something that needs to constantly be managed with the Venus in Scorpio. If not, this can spiral out of control, and if partnered, can lead to extramarital affairs if they feel they aren't sexually satisfied. The last thing I want to mention is the 8th house and Scorpio being the ruler of this house. So who is in control, your past relationship scars, and what you both value can be seen through this house and this sign. You can stoke the flame or fan it. It's your choice. Venus and Scorpio. I would like to thank everyone for taking the time out to watch this presentation, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.